Hello, and welcome to episode 114 of Prog Review. And if you're too daft to read the description, I shall be talking about this one. This is Emerson, Lake and Palmer, the debut from that Prog supergroup. But this time it's the 2012 Deluxe edition. Everyone has a Deluxe edition. Now, I'm not the greatest Emerson, Lake and Palmer fan, so I like bits of what they do. All of their albums, possibly with the exception of Tarkus, are flawed in some way. You know, there's usually some meandering piece that leaves me, reaching for the fast forward button, and the debut is no exception. So what you get here is you get 3 discs. First disc is the original album. Now, there's a good reason for that, is because they didn't have all the master tapes to rejigger the album for the new edition. All the rejiggering has been done by Mr. Stephen Wilson from Porcupine Tree, who seems to be the producer to go to for these kind of jobs. And so what he did on the second disc was create a new version of the album with some tracks to replace the missing pieces. Like there's a studio version of Promenade, how posh. Promenade, tomato. There's a studio version of that because it kind of makes up the 3 Fates. There's 2 of the tracks missing. Only Tropos, the master tapes for that were found. So you've got Promenade to make up 1 missing track, and a short instrumental piece called Rave Up, and a drum solo as well to kind of to get you there. There's also various cuts of Lucky Man and Knife Edge and Take a Pebble to keep you interested. The album itself, for me, I tend to like the vocal songs. So Take a Pebble, Knife Edge and Lucky Man are the draw. The rest of the tracks I find a bit dull, I'm afraid. I know you're going to hate me, but that's how I roll, I'm afraid. I just find them a little bit meandering, and an example of why ELP are just excessive. There's just too much noodling, and Keith Emerson's pub style piano playing sometimes wears a bit thin. But yeah, it's interesting too, the alternate mixes and the alternate takes. So there's a version of Lucky Man, which is just Greg Lake's demo, which is kind of sweet. And there's another version where you don't have the near legendary Moog solo on the end. And again, it all adds a different perspective to the recordings. The package itself is pretty good. You get 3 discs. The artwork's been lovingly restored. There's a nice essay by the respected journalist Chris Welch. He does a great job of talking about the time, how the album was made, where they come from, blah 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 blah, and he speaks to Stephen Wilson about his role in the production of the record. The rejiggery bits, which was interesting too. So they pack a lot into a small space. Of course, what I came for was the DVD audio, because you've got the album mixed in 5.1. Now this is quite interesting because ELP are not like King Crimson or Genesis, because there's only 3 of them. It's a very stripped back sound, and you don't necessarily appreciate it when you hear the stereo mix. But in surround sound, you can hear exactly who's doing what and where, and you get a sense that the majority of this stuff was kind of recorded live, or as live in the studio, with very little overdubbing. And what the DVD 5.1 mix does is adds life to the recordings, because you do get a sense that they are doing this as live. They're not going in and doing their bits separately. You do get a sense of that. What I like is they've mixed the drums towards the front and put the keys to the rear, and so you get a good separation of who's doing what, and the bass and everything. Take a Pebble is just brilliant because they put the backing vocals behind, and then when you go into the quiet passage with the 12-string and the acoustic part, it's spread across the stereo field or surround sound field, and it's very evocative. It really draws you in. Also, you get a real punch from it. Knife Edge has a real punch to it, and so does the louder tracks like the Barbarian and Lucky Man. If you can imagine how good Lucky Man is, it is very, very good, because again you have Greg Lake's backing vocals, coming out the back of the field. So sorry, I just had a bit of a brain fart there, as you do. So I mean, that was really good. And also, as you can imagine, at the end of Lucky Man, the Moog, Keith Emerson's Moog solo does exactly what you expect it to do. It spins all around your head. So yes, that's very satisfying indeed. You also get a load of high res, I think they call them. Ooh, fancy pants, high res stereo mixes. So you get the Barbarian, Take Pedal, Knife Edge, Promenade, Three Fates, Atropos, Rave Up, Drum Solo, Lucky Man, Take a Pedal, Knife Edge, Lucky Man. So there's quite a few versions there to take, and they sound really good. I must admit the high res mixes are pretty good as well. It's obviously it's essential release to anybody who's a fan of the album or a fan to ELP. It certainly gave me a new appreciation for the band because I could hear things a bit differently. I've actually listened to this album a lot the last couple of days. I've actually listened to every disc. I didn't just concentrate on the DVD audio. Sometimes I just do that. I just tend to, listen to the DVD audio and do my review. But this time I've actually listened to all of them. Stephen Wilson's done a good job with the stereo mixes on the CD. He hasn't really deviated. I mean, he's just pepped it up a bit. So, what I say about Porcupine Tree, I will always give Stephen Wilson his dues for his production work. He's an excellent producer, and I would trust him with one of my own albums. But Porcupine Tree, that's getting me a thumbs down. But yeah, I mean, they've done a good job on it. It's a shame that there are tracks missing. My battery light's flashing. I'm going to have to wind this up. So, in terms of a rating, the album itself, I'm only going to give it, if I was to do this as an album rating, I would give this 3 tanks out of 5. But in terms of the package, this scores a strong 5 Fates, or even 5 Pebbles. Should we go for the Pebbles? Yeah, we'll get 5 Pebbles out of 5 because it is, they've done a great job. And I got this for £9 off of Amazon as a pre-order. I don't know if it's still that price. It's probably gone up. So yeah, I mean, I thought it was a very good package. I'll be doing Tarkus next. And so yeah, that album I tend to like a bit more. And now we've gone to Silence. You're not seeing me now because my battery's run out, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk to you, if that's okay. If you can use your imagination. The next disc up will be Tarkus, which I will be listening to, and I'll be telling you what I think of that. Thanks for watching. Sorry that the battery ran out. C'est la vie. Oh, it's another Greg Lake song title there. But that's the way the mop flops when it comes to using this sodding digital SLR. It never gives me enough warning. And hopefully you're not too disappointed without seeing my lovely face. So that's it really. Only one more thing to say. Are you ready? Prog on.